There we go.
There we are, mate. How are you?
Not a problem in the end, that was.
I've never
I'm
done this
good.
before, so I'm sat there thinking,
Yeah,
what,
I'm
what am
good.
I doing?
Fashionably late there, Alex, but that's fine. You know, you're the star tonight, always. So thanks for doing this, because we've had this organised, you and I, and obviously Biggleswade FC for blimey, it feels like a century now.
Yeah,
So it's
when
nice
was
to
it?
find.
Last month, was it? Like, when we started talking
Yeah,
about it. But yeah, it flies by, doesn't it?
4 5 weeks. Yeah. I've not grown any hair. You've certainly not lost on me.
Yeah, at least it's not ginger though, is it? So you're all right.
Yeah. So let's start, Alex, with obviously the game on Mother's Day. So it turned out to be quite a nice Mother's Day in the end, didn't it, for everyone associated with the club?
Yeah. I think a few people had it in the ear and the neck from their mothers and partners to have the day off. But
Yes.
yeah, it turned out to be a good win in the end for the lads. So yeah, what 2-0 over at FC Romania and
Mhm.
keeps the run going after bouncing back after a few poor results really. So we'll just keep going to the end of the season.
Yeah. So that's obviously 2 wins on the bounce now, 2 clean sheets.
Blimey.
Um, yeah, I know. And more importantly, the skipper got on the score sheet, and I believe someone else got on the score sheet again.
Well, we only have two goal scorers in our team anyway, so we got to carry on doing, haven't we? We got to carry on.
Love it. I love the fact that you plugged that. As you just brought it up, come on, we need to talk about it. So, appearance-wise, from what I could see on the club stats this season, you're joint second for appearances on
Hmm.
31, and you're certainly banging them in this year because you're on 26 in all comps. Is that
Is it
right?
what it is? Yeah, something like
And
that.
then in the Southern League Division 1 Central, you're on 21, which actually only puts you behind BJ Christie by 3 goals.
Well, it's been not a bad return. So since coming back from Hitchin, so yeah, look, the team set up pretty well around me and Colsey to score goals. So we at least got to
Yeah.
try and do our job, haven't we, when we're there? So yeah, it's been good fun, and like I said, we have a little laugh about the stats and things, but no, the performances and moving up the table is most important. So yeah, that's been the good part, really.
Yeah, because obviously, so at the moment, Biggleswade FC are ninth in the table, correct?
Yeah, eighth or ninth, somewhere around there. I think we've just level on points with Harlow, I think now.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so ninth, but obviously, if the results go the right way, there's certainly a possibility of climbing the table and probably finishing, from what I could see, seventh is still very much a possibility for the club, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think we went on about a 13, 14 game unbeaten run from November,
Yes.
and we were well looking up and seeing what we could potentially achieve. But say a couple of big loss against Dunstable and then North Lee last minute set us in our track. So yeah, there's some good teams in the playoffs positions, and say we're expecting. Well, we'd like for some results to go our way and win the last 5 games and just see where that takes us. Really, if that's just momentum into next
Mm,
year or a few more games, you never know. So we're just keep focusing one game at a time and go from there. Really.
nice. You mentioned your partner in crime in terms of goal scoring, the skipper, Colsey.
Yeah.
Um, Go on, tell us what is the man like? Because obviously, you know, I've met him, spoke to him a number of times, and he just seems an absolute top gent and a real, I think, role model potentially for what any
Yeah.
kid should
Yeah.
be like. That's
Yeah.
my impression.
Yeah.
You may say something different
I
if
don't want to say
you
too
know.
many positive things about
Yeah,
him, but I've been playing with Colsey since I first started playing men's football. So we started together at Ainsbury. So well, how old is Colsey now? 32 maybe. So he's about 5, 6 years older than me, but probably
yeah,
mental age is a bit less when you see him on the training ground. But he's no, he's amazing. Since I started playing football and say at Ainsbury and now Biggleswade, and like I said, I think I'm probably the second oldest in the Biggleswade team, so a lot of young players on our side, and
yeah.
guided by him, it's yeah, certainly it brings more value than you probably see in just results and everything else. And I think he sets the tone for the club, which say starts from the top with the likes of Jeremy and Dave and Skippy. But you've got to have a good
Mhm.
team to do it, and Colsey's yeah, the best captain I've played under, so he certainly leads us very, very well, and just a good guy all round, really. So yeah, can't say any more about him, otherwise his head would get too big.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not go any further then, Colsey. On there with him. So obviously you mentioned them. You mentioned the guys obviously in the dugout. So obviously
Yeah.
Dave Norfield Mark Inskip. They've done an incredible job this season. We shouldn't underplay that.
Mm.
What do you think they've done to really install this sort of level of success at Biggleswade FC this season in particular?
I think it's just their approach. Say they're well. If you look at them both as individuals, they're both business owners, both people that have dealt with people of all backgrounds, and just the way they communicate, very visible in what they do, very honest as well. And I think they're just people you always want to play for. So it certainly gets the best out of everyone. There's no one that I've seen come in and not enjoy it or get the best out of them, whether that's obviously some people don't always get the game time they want to get, but in terms of actually being human beings and being good people, they get the best out of everyone. So and that just comes onto the pitch, and when you're playing for them, you always want to go the extra yard. So yeah, they just set an environment that's, well, not about them really, it's always about the lads, and that definitely shows in the way it comes across in the changing room and how they talk to us, because there's sometimes I'm sure they probably want to rip our heads off with a few of our performances, but it's always just about improving and learning and going again. I think, as you say, for a club, 4 years since it was made, or 5 years since it was made, is batting well above its weight, I think, and doing some great things, and long may that continue.
Absolutely. Great feedback, that, Marshy. I'm sure they'll both appreciate to hear that from you.
Yeah, I could tell them the truth later, what I actually think about them, but
absolutely. Message me after.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the fans and the club itself, because it's a very, very young club, isn't it? It was only founded 6 years ago now, wasn't it? 2016.
6 years, blimey, yeah.
I know to you, it probably now seems quite a long time. A lot happened in that time, hasn't it? Club, which is a good thing. But the core of the club, it's undoubtedly, for me, in terms of the personnel and the fans, you can't get much more of a family club.
No.
Than Biggleswade FC.
Yeah, no, I agree, and yeah, I think as you talk about the club and the people in it, like, I don't know if you ever spoke to Jeremy, but literally
top guys,
just the nicest guy in the world, and that just comes throughout the committee. Dave and Skippy obviously on the pitch, lights of obviously Ruth, Ray, the rest of Lee obviously does all the hard yards behind the scene. Like there's not one person you're there like, I don't really want to talk to them today. You turn up to a ground, they're all there shaking your hands, win, lose, draw, they're supporting you in every way. So it's amazing to be a part of it. And like I said, for a club that's 6 years old and step 4 now and has great plans for the future, it's great to be a part of. And like I said, I think that culture holds true throughout and will continue to do so.
Cool, nice one. So let's do a bit of a Yui here, Alex. So let's rewind. So you growing up, okay? You're thankfully not as old as me, so you're not your memory. So what was your boyhood club growing up, and which player, if you used to look back, in all time, which player for you has been your favourite player to watch?
So, well, obviously you can tell from my accent I'm a Man United fan. So that obviously, and Wayne Rooney was the guy at the time for me when I was watching football for the first time. 2004 Euros, I was probably 8 or 9 at the time, and just obviously setting the world alight as a young lad. So the way he played, the aggression, and obviously his technique and talent, that was just like going down the park with Laurie, but my twin, and we're just like fighting each other, trying to win all the time, because that was what Rooney was doing on the pitch. So that was definitely my inspiration. I think a lot of people try to say Paul Scholes because we all looked like him, but no, it was we were lucky with the fact that our old man was a United fan, and then when we came to it, it was a lot of success on the pitch. So good times there, maybe not quite as good now, but yeah, Rooney was I guess the inspiration. Obviously Ronaldo's the man, isn't he, as well? So we were fortunate to support a team that had a lot of very, very good players to try and replicate down the park.
Yeah, that ship has certainly sailed now, hasn't it? I think, unfortunately, Man United. Being an Arsenal fan, I can't comment either. It's going to be a wild card. Interesting. In the comments, Alex, I understand a certain T. Cole's put in there. Surely it's him.
Well, I've already said a few nice words about him, so I wouldn't. Well, let's say non-league footballers. So those that can't kick it, who like to head it a lot, that would be Colsey. But for those that can actually kick a ball properly, then probably not him. But he kicks it quite hard and puts it in the goal a few times. So yeah, he's all right.
There you go. He's all right. So your playing career, Alex, talk us through it. How did it start?
What right back or
Yeah,
yeah? Well, me and Loz. Well, so we started off at Russian and Diamonds as little nippers, really running around, and then went to Peterborough. Yeah, just sort of I think 12, 13, if I can remember rightly, and then went there. Didn't get pros there, so came out of football, but say always played all sports. So we were always cricketers, rugby
mm,
players, footballers. So did we ever really try and specialise in one? Probably not. Of course, we'd love to have gone and done that in any sport, but it was always really about just what we could compete against each other at and
yeah,
enjoy as well. And to be fair, like my mum and dad are always great with the sort of education support because obviously we all know how hard it is to go and make it through. So that was my footballing career really at a young date, and then had a did I have a year out maybe? Then went to Ainsbury at the time. So it was before we went to Russian as sort of 8, 9 year olds. We were always friends with the local sort of Priory team in St Neots, and then went back there who joined the Ainsbury men's team at that age, about 16, 17. And that's where I first met Skippy as well. So Skippy was
yeah,
the under 18s manager. I think when we were, under 16, 17. My first game for Skippy was against Corby Town, I think, an under 18s game. And I came on at half time and scored the winner to win 1-0. And he'll always tell the story about how I went in there and was just shouting at all his players and just wanting to win. So from that point onwards, the career, if you like, this and under Markin Skip, and went from Ainsbury to Biggleswade, and like I said, I went to Sheffield University for 3 years, and sort of came back over a Christmas period. I think the second year that they formed, I think it was second year, maybe first year. And Tom Cookman, who you're probably aware of as well, I think he had like a 6-game ban for like 3 red cards before Christmas, which I think must be a record. And started coming back on the train for that, and then went back, and then the next year came back most weekends to play. So that was when sort of Biggleswade was forming, and then obviously finished uni the year after that and was back in the area, and then just continued from there really. So obviously had the treble winning season, which was obviously great fun and some great memories. And obviously just before COVID, or that year of the COVID came in, went to Hitchin. God, that must have been 2.5 years I must have been there, which felt like not that, because obviously no football was really played, but had a great time there. Like I say, can't speak highly enough of Parks, obviously get the gaffer there as well, and Berkey and the rest of the lads. I think I've seen a few of them on here, putting a few silly comments already. But yeah, some great team, great lads, and outside of football, have a recruitment business that started going quite well and needed more of my time. So I spoke to Dave and Skippy October this year for obviously the additional commitment wasn't something I was quite able to do with obviously the league above, with the travel and leaving at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to away games and all those things. And just came back to Biggleswade, and obviously it's a club that I know and people that I know that works very well for me, and obviously having some good success around that on and off the pitch. So yeah, that's a whistle-stop tour, if you like, of the journey.
Not a bad journey, it sounds like. And obviously the season, the way it's going at the moment with your goals, it's certainly building potentially for something very special next year. Not that we're trying to put so much pressure on you, Alex, but the momentum is there for you, isn't it? As well as the boys at the moment. As you say, when you've got quite a young squad, these seasons now are everything, aren't they? It's just all about building.
And I think, without saying too much, I know there's a lot of exciting plans at the club about what they're trying to grow because obviously we've always ground shared at the Biggleswade Town and our Bedford. I think there's some sort of longer term goals of having their own infrastructure, which is only going to support that success, really. So it's a good time to be a part of it, and if we can just help in that journey, the club's always going to last longer than the players, but if we can just keep making the club do what it does and they can continue to grow, you never know where it may be.
Love that. The fans will love to hear that, I'm sure. So you mentioned the journey. You mentioned obviously 20, Laurie or Loz.
Yeah.
So how has that journey sort of mirrored the two of you? So how much sort of seasons have you actually been playing in the same side?
Well, junior football was every year.
Yeah.
We were Russian times together, went to Peterborough together, came back to Ainsbury. Laurie went to uni the year before I did, and he played probably a bit more rugby then. So when he went to uni, he didn't actually play as much football back down here or up there. So it was sort of that sort of 2-3 year period. We didn't play much, but then when he came back from uni, he started playing for Dave's side, and obviously Skippy and that knew of him before. And then I think, to be fair, in the treble winning season, he got players player and managers player. So he my dad always says around like Laurie does all the dirty work for me really, and I just stand on the line and try and tap it in. So I can't say a bad word about him. And like I said, he does a lot of the yards that some of the boys don't necessarily want to do. So yeah, we've always probably been that way as well since kids. Laurie's always sort of the back end of the pitch and setting them up, and it's continued that way. So apart from maybe a couple of years in between university and other distractions, if you like, it's been quite a joint journey, if you think of it that way.
So I've got to ask this. So if that's the way it was football-wise, was it the same growing up? Did Laurie pretty much do everything at home?
No. Well, he'll
No?
probably say
All
something
right.
different. He'll say he did all the cleaning up and all the washing up, but no, it was. I don't know. Well, I'm probably a biased point of view from that, but it was just another thing we could always say compete at. Like obviously being twins, say it's a different relationship to having brothers and sisters, like literally living in each other's pockets, and like I say, even goes down to just measuring there's more drink in a glass. So we always push each other that way. But we wouldn't. We argued and we did all those wonderful things that siblings do, but I wouldn't play, like say, if I had to pick one player to be on my team, it'd always be him first. So yeah, it's a good one in the end. I know, yeah.
No.
You can slip me a tenner later for saying something nice about him.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. So Alex, for you, non-league football, what are your likes and dislikes?
Ooh, likes and dislikes of non-league football. I think, especially more so since I've returned to Biggleswade, and I think because Hitchin's obviously a much bigger club than Biggleswade is, that you don't necessarily see the sort of the little challenges running, because obviously they've got a great ship there that's working very well. You don't necessarily see it, and you see obviously the time and investment that Dave and Skip put in for themselves, and obviously the work Jeremy and everyone's doing behind the scene. That's, I think, an amazing thing to create, because I think everyone could say that probably their football team or the team they play in, you make friends for life, don't you? And the success you can build, that you can always sometimes have at work in other places, but it's unrivaled. So I think it allows people to continue sort of living the dream of the football career we've all had as kids, and then just build long-term relationships that hopefully you have after football. And also a lot more recently as well, seeing sort of the partnership it brings for like families. Like you see a lot of people at Biggleswade where it's like three generations of people come down and watch the game on a Saturday or a Tuesday night in Welling, for whatever reason they want to come down there to watch us play against Welling on Tuesday night. But things like that, it's just good to see that actually you can still bring people together. And obviously we've had COVID for 2 years, so I think it's allowed people to just have a bit of a release as well. So that's a positive thing. Negative thing, I think, I don't know who organises all the fixtures, but sometimes it could be a bit smarter in the midweek away days. But that's our problem really. So I won't say too much about that. But no, yeah, only good things to be said, and I think you can't say too much negative about the fact you get to go out and run around, kick a ball a little bit, and live the dream we all had when we were children.
So here's a question. Obviously, in step 4, the ground sharing at the Erie, obviously the home of Bedford Town.
Yeah.
What challenges have come with that, or have there not been any challenges? So I've obviously had some comments from people. Obviously, the obvious. Well, we're obviously playing away from home, so that already can mean potentially you lose a small number of supporters.
Yeah. To be fair, obviously, what is it? 10 minutes from Biggleswade to Bedford, and to be fair, from the feedback, and obviously we don't see much of it, but from the feedback from the club and the committee, like Bedford have been amazing in terms of the support they've given them in bringing them over and allowing us to use their ground. So yeah, I think it's been, obviously I don't know the ins and outs of it all, but been pretty streamlined for us, and it's a great facility and a great ground. Like we're not too bad that we used to be able to use Biggleswade Town, which was amazing, and Bedford's the same. So for players, yes, it's pretty easy, and it's 10 minutes up the road and very easy to get to. So yeah, we long may that continue, but hopefully, say in the future, we can have a place of our own and start to grow Biggleswade properly, if you like.
Fingers crossed, Alex. So you mentioned it, working in recruitment. So for you, what does your average week actually look like? Because obviously, how many times do you guys train as well?
We're twice a week, so we're Tuesdays and Thursdays. We train at midnight for some reason. Dave likes to make us train at stupid times, but it's twice a week, and then obviously you have your games on a Saturday. So it's and always done it that way. So week around that, and say apart from that, so me and my partner have just bought a house in Alconbury Weald. So I don't know if you know the area at all, but straight up and down
No, I don't. But it's
for training. Yeah, well, this is the office, so this is where our business is. So I've got to say the
Very
recruitment
nice.
business. Loz is in it, and that's our business partner Steve. So the working week's really around how we keep moving that forward, and that's probably 7 days a week. So, but yes, it's good fun. Like I say, it's a job we all love, and say working in healthcare and the impact we can have on, I guess, workforce solutions and helping these services deliver the care that's necessary across the UK is pretty rewarding as well. So yeah, we're pretty lucky with the job because you speak to anyone in recruitment, you don't normally choose recruitment, you sort of fall into it. We fall into something that we're pretty passionate about and enjoying and doing some good things in. So yeah, that's most of the week, and then to get a little release and a run around, head over to Biggleswade and kick a few balls in a goal, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously to work in recruitment, you've got to be a good talker, haven't you, Alex?
Good listener, I'd say. Actually, a good listener.
Oh, okay, all right.
Is the right way of saying it. So yeah, none of this open a jacket and trying to sell them a job. It's listen to what they want to achieve and just try and facilitate that for them. So yeah, that's my comment on that.
Nice. So long term, looking a bit more further ahead, what are your personal objectives in football? Obviously.
Oh, in football, I thought you're going down the whole life goals. I'm thinking
No,
football.
no, we haven't. Right, come on.
I think, like I say, football is obviously a wonderful part of my life, and say love playing there, but it's certainly not the primary objective. So I think it's just always playing somewhere where say you feel like you can add value. First of all, I think there's no point in doing something if you're not doing that or adding to your own life as well. So playing with people that you trust and can build good relationships with. As I said, football days will finish earlier than the friendship, so as long as you can always play with people that you admire, respect, and want to be around, then I think that's just the goal. And then wherever that may take us, if someone said when I started at Ainsbury that I'd be playing for Biggleswade and then off to Hitchin and what it is, you don't know what you'd say to it, but I think it's just always being open-minded to buying into the right people and making decisions based on that. And as long as you're, I guess it's easy to say, as long as you're enjoying it, because winning comes as part of that. So you're part of a winning team and playing with good lads, and you can't ask for much more than that, can you? So yeah, and I think that's really it. Just finding somewhere that you believe in what they're trying to do as a club, and the values are right and the culture's right, and you just go out there and try and enjoy it. So that's the main goal, and we take it one year at a time, because we also saw in COVID, you never know, do you? So yeah, that's not too long term. How long do I see myself playing for? See what life brings, obviously, but I say I'm 26 now. I think I'm 26, so I've still got a few years before I have to think about that, and we'll see when 32 comes. I'm sure the other half might want to go travel the world a bit more on the weekends rather than playing football, but I'll play for as long as I can.
Cool. So let's touch on next game. It's quite another big one really on Saturday, because Hertford are really fighting for their lives, aren't they? Because they're fourth from bottom and they've got to be picking up points.
Yeah.
There's also 2 wins on the bounce, so it's an important game for both clubs really in terms of the table. What has been done so far ahead of that game?
Yeah, well, I think firstly it probably doesn't quite reflect how good Hertford are. We played Hertford at their place when they got their 3G, and they battered us, to be fair, for 40 minutes, and we managed to win that game 3-1. Again, I think they're a team of youngsters as well, so probably still figuring out the right solution for step 4. But yeah, I think they'll be all right. But in terms of prep, to be fair, and I don't know if he's on Instagram, our coach James Pett, he's pretty useful, to be fair to him. He knows his stuff, so he analyses a lot of the teams we play against. And Tuesday nights normally we do a lot of sort of shape work or transition stuff to sort of plan how we're gonna get the ball back and try and score, and sort of the shape around that. So that was Tuesday, and then tonight, as I say, training's Thursdays are always a bit more of a sort of game-based and small-sided games, a bit more problem-solving and trying to put the ball in the net very quickly. So, yeah, that's our usual break-up, is Tuesdays to sort of shape up, and we worked on a bit of things there around winning the ball high at the pitch and transition. So, well, I hope no one from Hertford's listening, but and then going and being clinical when we get the chance, and being compact when they do get areas of the game with the ball, because as you say, they're a team that want to stay up and want to get points, so they're going to have their spells, and just being prepared for that when it comes, and then taking our chances when we have the momentum.
Yes, and I think we should mention it really. Obviously, it's no real secret. Biggleswade have played some fantastic football this year. So on the ball, the team have been absolutely brilliant. in a lot of the games.
Yeah.
So the areas to improve, is it the clinical finishing? And is it, you don't want to name drop players, but is it areas
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that.
of winning the ball back at times?
I think if you look at the games we've lost, we're usually better against the top sides. But say you look at the bottom, I think 3 or 4 teams outside of Hartford, and I think we dropped 9 points against them in those games. So, but I think it's maybe a little bit of a mentality thing against the junior sides, and then I think the difference at the top end, especially if we're looking for playoffs, winning the league next year, for example, is I think it's a bit more sort of sharper in terms of managing the game. I think technically we'll always back ourselves to play teams off the park. In all honesty, I think there's no team I'd ever line up against and think like they're better than us. I think it's just the way they may manage games. Like the Dunstable game recently was a prime example of that. We just didn't have a sniff, lost 3-0, and they just did it easy really by just managing the game effectively. And I think if we want to look at the top end of the table next year and really take ourselves forward, we need to start managing games better and probably maturing a bit in our performances, because I think there's no doubt in the fact we believe we could beat anyone on our day, but it's about doing that over a season and managing that throughout a season. So I think that's the areas to improve. Like I think 2 clean sheets recently. Young lads from Stevenage have come in and done a great job. Jack at centre half, Lewis centre mid, and then obviously the likes of Luke Cosvic, Nathan, Johnny as well have been absolute rocks at the back this year. So yeah, I think there's enough there that it's just probably that additional experience coming in and just managing games better and see what happens next year.
Nice, and I'm sure that the boys at the back would appreciate those comments as well.
Yeah, sure.
I can imagine, Alex, you don't do much defensive work. Would that be fair?
Oh no, I do my yards. I don't think that's fair at all. I think ask Adam at right back, who covers him more than anyone. I'll be there all day. So if he's on there now, I expect to comment saying that. So yeah, up and down. But no, Dave likes to keep me as far away from it as possible. But yeah, get in there when we can, eh?
Yeah. It's not your job though, is it? Eh? It's scoring 26 a season. Right, quick questions. Okay, so who's going to win the league?
Ooh, you mean our league right now?
Yeah, who's going to win the league?
I think Bedford are playing sailing at the moment. I think that they beat Berkhamsted, didn't they, about a month ago? So 2 great teams as well. Some excellent players I think could play league above or even above that. So it's but they seem to have just sort of taken away from them. And then you've obviously got who's in the playoffs? Berkhamsted, Welling, Ware, and Dunstable. Would that be the 4?
At the moment, yes.
God, is it only one goes up out of those guys?
Correct. And Northley are still fighting as well. So effectively,
yes, of course, yeah.
So effectively, you've got Welling and Burko, who, in my opinion, are going to be in the playoffs. Bedford are going to win the league. I think it's going to be Ware and Northley will nick 5th.
Ooh, that's it.
So, if that's the scenario, who goes up out of that group?
Who goes up? I think Burko. I think you look at the team they've got and the players they've got. Yeah, they've got a lot of lads that have played leagues above, haven't they? And I think we'll do a job.
They have signed a lot, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we only played Welling once this year. We've got them, I think, next Tuesday. But good side again. But I just think Burko maybe have a little bit more. And but you never know. That's the beauty of the playoffs, isn't it? You never know. If someone drops in and Ware do it, it's they may be ready to go. And because they've scored a ridiculous amount of goals as well, Ware, which I didn't realise. So they've got the firepower to go and do it if they want to.
And because you're still in the hunt, we have to ask it: who's winning the Golden Boot?
Yeah, me. Yeah. I think I'll score a hat trick probably on Saturday, and then the same again on Tuesday, and then Saturday again. So that's 9 and 3. So
okay,
yeah,
easy,
isn't it? Easy. Yeah, we'll see.
And then, lastly, obviously that game against Hartford. Confident of the W?
Yeah, you asked me any game we played against, if there were 2 leagues, 3 leagues above us, I'd say the same thing. So yeah, always go in with that mentality and say I think our lads and our team have always got the ability to be anyone. So as long as we do the basics right and we start well, then yeah, I think we'll go and get that.
Right, fingers crossed, Alex. We will wrap it up there because it's literally been bang on. I think 30 minutes. So we time that to perfection as
Oh,
always.
there we go. Yeah, there
But
we go.
there we go. There you go. Alex for Golden Boot. There you go. There's a comment. There's one vote, Alex.
He's
But
a rugby
vote,
player, so he doesn't know
vote
what he's up to.
the Golden Boot, unfortunately. You're going to have to score the goals, but all the best. All right.
Good. No, there's no questions in there, is there? I didn't see any silly questions come through, so hopefully
No,
we'll get that
no,
out
not
today.
recent, unfortunately. You've
Yeah,
escaped.
cool.
But thank you so much for giving up your time, Alex.
No, pleasure.
All
Thank
the
you.
best for Saturday. I do think I'm pretty confident Biggleswade are going to win on Saturday.
You have to
And
say
then
that.
you end up end of the season.
We'll see. Yeah, say one game at a time. We'll keep going, eh? But no, appreciate your time and yeah, good
No,
to
pleasure.
yeah. No, see you at the game soon, I guess, as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Good man.
Right, thank you everyone for watching. Do spread the word. This will be online, I would hope, in an hour's time if you want to watch Alex again. All right,
Good
and
man.
if you don't, no. Thanks, Alex.
Take it easy. Cheers.
All the best. Bye.